Welcome back to another MLB recap, and let's start this thing in Philly, where the Brewers took on the best team in baseball, the Philadelphia Phillies, and a Mundo Sosa single that plated Nick Castellanos. Then a batter later, Johan Rojas, virtually did the same thing, as his ground ball single allowed Sosa to cross home plate and gave Philly a 2-0 lead after 2 innings. Now, the Phillies just selected the contract of former Rocky David Dahl after placing Brandon Marsh and Cody Clemens on the injured list. Marsh, he suffered a hamstring strain, and Clemens has lower back spasms. Now, Dahl made a very good impression with his new ball club as he homered in his second AB with the Phillies. His home run traveled 362 feet and left his bat at 105 miles an hour out to right field, giving the Phillies a 3-0 advantage. Now, not only did a new Philly leave the yard in this game, but a former Philly did as well. Rhys Hoskins muscled up for his 10th home run of 2024 to get his team on the board and end the shutout. However, that is all the Brewers would get across on Wheeler and the Phillies. In the end, Philadelphia defeated Milwaukee 3-1. Now let's head over to our nation's capital, where the Mets took on the Nationals, and both clubs cracked the scoreboard in the second inning of this contest. Harrison Bader shot a sac fly into center field. Starling Marte scored on the play, making it 1-0 Metropolitans. Now in the bottom half, Jesse Winker tied the game after lining a single to center field. It was 1-1. Now the Mets retook the lead in the fourth after a first pitch leadoff home run from Mark Vientos out to left center field. Then shortstop Frankie Lindor shot a single to right that plated Jose Iglesias to give New York a 2-run lead. Now the Nats got to run back on this fielder's choice off the bat of Eduardo Vargas. Vargas was initially called out at first base, but replay review overturned the call, which allowed Vargas to reach first and Nick Senzel to score from third on the play. The next batter, Joey Gallo, blasted his 5th home run of the campaign to give the Nationals their first lead of the day. However, that lead was short-lived, as the Mets tied it again after a Bader sac fly which plated Martinez. Then a Jose Iglesias single to left allowed Marte to score, giving New York the lead right back. Finally, Luis Torres hit a sharp liner in the 3-4 hole that plated 2 more Mets runs. It was 7-4 after 4.5 innings. Jumping to the 6th, Starling Marte extended New York's lead after lining a single to center field. Martinez scored on the play to make it 8-5 New York. And the Nationals tried them out to come back during their final hacks, as Jesse Winker came through after singling to right field. Then Joey Meneses shot a sac fly to center field. This plated Kerbert Ruiz to make it 8-7 New York. However, Washington came up short, in the end, falling to New York by that score of 8-7. Now we have some breaking news to get to, as the Padres infielder Tucupita Moricano has been banned by Major League Baseball for gambling. Yes, another gambling scandal. What is new? Now here's an article from CBS Sports. Now, Moricano, he's 24. He was signed by the Padres as an amateur free agent out of Venezuela back in 2016. He was traded to the Pirates in 2021 with Jack Sawinski for Adam Frazier. Last November, he went back to the Padres via waivers. Now, he hasn't played since last July after tearing his ACL. Now, MLB's investigation found that Moricano didn't just bet on baseball frequently. He's claimed to have gambled more than $150,000 across nearly 400 baseball bets, including on MLB and international contests. Almost all of Moricano's Pirates bets were on which the club, the Pirates, or their opponents would win the game, or whether there would be more or less than a certain number of runs scored in said game. MLB said in a press release. It's notable that Moricano did not appear in any of those games that he bet on because of his injury. He also denied having inside information that influenced his bets. MLB estimates that he won just 4.3% of his endeavors. The Shohei Ohtani gambling scandal, right? I mean, to be frank, this has opened the floodgates for stories like this to now come out. And now it just feels like MLB has a microscope on everybody, everywhere, across Major League Baseball, the entire minor league farm systems, affiliations down in places like South America, whether it be in Mexico, Puerto Rico, Dominican. MLB is going to expose whoever and whatever they want, unless it's not a top-tier player like a Mike Trout or a Aaron Judge or somebody. But I think what they're trying to do with this one is they're going to try to find the little guy. They're going to go after the little guy, so to speak. The minor leaguers, the bench guys, the guys that have the free time that they probably, would suspect be gambling because A, they're either in the minor leagues, B, they're on a major league club, but they're not an everyday player, thus they have time on their hands, and they're going to go after those guys. Now, they might find some big fish along the way, but I highly doubt they're going to expose those guys as frequently as they would the guys like Moricano here. I also wanted to say that I think another reason why it's starting to now come out here in 2024 about these gamblers is that there are records out there on the internet and available to anybody who can access them with the information they need to put forth a case and essentially prosecute somebody for illegal gambling or just gambling in general when it comes to Major League Baseball. Because, back in the 80s, the 70s, pre-technology, right, as we know it, guys were making bets with just bookmakers, and it was all hush-hush, and things were very hard to get your hands on. You had to know a guy who knew a guy who knew a guy. And, I'm sure back then they knew, who not to tell and who to tell. I'm sure they had a list of the guys that were on the up and up and the guys that, if they found out, they would squeal and they would blow the whole cover off the thing. That's why, basically, you haven't heard of gamblers frequently in Major League Baseball in quite some time. The MLB is trying to crack down on a little guy to avoid cracking down on the big fish like Ohtani, and then having a situation where they're in a rock and a hard place and they have integrity to fulfill, but then they have PR and they have sales and they have marketing, all this shit. So that's what I just think. Let's head out to Toronto, where it was a battle of the birds, and the Orioles found a worm first on this Anthony Santander home run. It was his 11th of 2024, giving the O's a 2-0 lead. Now a Dalton Varsho triple played George Springer in the second and got the Jays on the board, making it 2-1. The Orioles extend their lead by 4 in the fourth after a Colt Kausner double to left and an Austin Hayes 2-run home run. Now Vladimir Guerrero cracked a ball out of the park for his 6th long ball of the season and made it 5-2. Now the Orioles solidified their overtaking of the Blue Jays' nest after 2 home runs from Austin Hayes and Romano Urias in the late innings. These late inning heroics solidified the 7-2 Orioles win. Now after the Rockies scored first on this line drive single from Montero, the Reds had a field day at Coors. Cincinnati tied it on a Tyler Stevenson double play ball. Spencer Steer scored on the play from third base. In the third, Ellie De La Cruz doubled home Will Benson. Then a batter later, Jamer Candelario blasted a home run to make it 4-1 Reds. Now the Rockies did get to within 1 run in the third after a Brendan Rodgers home run and a Jacob Stallings single, but that's as close as Colorado would get. A Will Benson triple plated Tyler Stevenson and Jonathan India in the fourth. T.J. Friedel made some firewood after singling to right field and plating Will Benson. It was 7-3 Cincinnati. Finally, Stevenson and the Reds put the cherry on top after the backstop cracked his 6th home run. The Reds demolished the Rockies by 10 runs in a 13-3 triumph. Now let's head over to the juice box, where the Cardinals started things off on home runs from Alec Burleson and Nolan Gorman. Now Nolan Arenado cracked a line drive single to left, plating Paul Goldschmidt and giving the Cardinals a 3-0 lead. Now a 2-run home run off the bat of Yordan Alvarez got the Astros to within one run after the bottom of the third. However, Nolan Gorman blasted a solo home run in the fifth to give the Redbirds a 2-run lead again. Now Alex Bregman tied the game 4-4 in the late innings after homering to left field. Then Yander Diaz did the same thing via a 2-run home run to put Houston up 6-4. Finally, a ground rule double off the bat of Altuve sealed the deal for the Astros as they defeated the Redbirds 7-4. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. hit a home run to get things started as he cranked the ball 384 feet out to left field. Then Blaze Alexander singled home Eugenio Suarez to give the D-backs a 2-0 lead. A Matt Chapman double in the fourth got San Fran on the board, and a Ramos home run tied the ball game 2-2 after 6.5 innings. Now the game was still tied 2-2 in the ninth. That was until, with one out, Pavin Smith hit a 2-run walk-off home run to center field to win the game for the Diamondbacks. And we'll end things off in the great state of Texas as Marcus Semien led off the game with a home run for the Rangers to put them up early over Tarik Skubal and the Tigers. But the Tigers backstop tied the game up 1-1 in the third after he hit a home run to left field. It was just his third of the season. Now, to my surprise, Jake Rogers did it again via the long ball. In the eighth, his 2 solo shots were all the Tigers needed behind their starter Tarik Skubal as a lefty went 6 full, struck out 6, only to give up that 1 home run to Semien in the first. The Tigers were victorious 2-1 over the Rangers. And that's all I got. Please like, please comment, subscribe. I really appreciate it. On the road to 2,000. And as always, I will catch you guys later.